have been well trained.
No.
You don't have to carry a sword to be powerful.
I won't fail you.
Or do not.
I'm not afraid.
There is no try.
Players are going to get right into the game. And SUGI stepped out for a second. He'll be coming right back. But doesn't look like there's any action to talk about right now anyway, since they're just shuffling and cutting each other's decks. So for this round, we've got Jango Dengar against the Palpatine Watto that we just saw. So these are both decks that we've seen before, but we haven't seen this matchup yet, so this one's going to be interesting. And they're figuring out which battlefield they will play on. And welcome back to my co-caster, SUGI.
Oh no! What's going on? All right. So
looks like they just did the battlefield roll-off. I do not know which one they chose because the shields haven't come out yet.
All right, so let's talk about the decks. No droids, which is a little bit surprising. We have bounty hunters versus the Senate.
Oh, it looks like they may have been finding the battlefield.
So we just saw what Palpatine does. We saw his end game plan is to just early game sustain, tank up, and it looks like the Palpatine player is going first. What do you do as a bounty hunter? What's your plan here to make sure Palpatine doesn't just get out of control?
Well, the Jango Dengar, what we've seen is that it wants to be aggressive and kill a guy quickly, which happens to be the recipe for winning against Palpatine. Because round one, Palpatine starts with only 10 health. The question is, can you get there? So we're going to start off with a Dead or Alive on Palpatine.
Now, what does that do?
So that every time Palpatine activates, the Dengar player will get a resource.
We also just saw Dengar activate and put a damage onto Palpatine. Why is this happening?
That is Dengar's ability. When he activates, he can deal a damage to a character who has a bounty or downgrade. I can't remember which, but Dead or Alive is both, so it works.
That's not a friend I would want to have with me.
And we get another bounty, which that one looks like Wanted, which I believe is the 2 resourced one. So when Palpatine dies, he'll get 2 resources.
All right,
that's probably not relevant, because when Palpatine dies, you can just scoop up the game.
Right. So now we're seeing Palpatine start to tank up. So what are the 2 cards he put on himself? And first of all, are they abilities or are they weapons?
So those are both abilities. It looks like a Ceresu training and a Niemann training, which is interesting because only one of Ceresu or Niemann mastery can be on Palpatine at a time, since the forms are limited to 1 each. But he can have as many trainings as he wants. So he rolled in straight defense, which might be what he's looking for with the focuses and the shields.
Now here's something important to bring up. All right, what's this that's being played here?
So that is Prey Upon, which is to remove a dice belonging to a character who has a bounty or a downgrade. It might be both. I can't remember if it's specific about that, but it works in this case regardless.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about this plot over here, because that's going to be giving the bounty hunters a little bit of gas that they need against Palpatine.
Right, and that is the plot where if you can remove a bounty hunter to do unblockable damage, or if they have 3 bounties, I believe, it is 2 unblockable damage.
Now, we just saw, what is that, Ceresu Mastery come out?
Yep.
So explain how that just happened.
So Ceresu training is special, is to give a character 2 shields, and then you can play Ceresu Mastery for free if you discard the training. So he took 2 shields, discarded the training, played Ceresu Mastery, and then Ceresu Mastery lets you remove a dice showing damage, and that's how he got rid of the Jango 2 ranged side.
Right. And the reason why we talked about that plot is we just saw Palpatine with a shield go from 1 to 3 damage, and that's because the plot is dealing unblockable damage. So the shields aren't necessarily helping him right now And if the bounty hunters can get some damage to stick... Uh-oh. All right, so what's happening here?
So he's playing an end of the round Sith Teachings. I did not catch if he power actioned Palpatine this round. He did. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So he did power action Palpatine.
But
No,
you don't want.
missed triggers there. No. Then that's good.
No, this is going to be a really good final. It's close, it's gross, and it makes hot chili and fries.
So I would say that the Dengar player has to be a little bit concerned because he only put 3 damage through on round 1, and now Palpatine is already stacked up with 6 value worth of upgrades.
He's half the Senate. So he's like Congress?
He's like one of the 2 parties.
One of the 2 parties, okay. Who are we getting there? Oh, okay, so 4. So we're getting closer to the Senate. It's like SENA. So he's like Sena, and then the TE, and then just punches.
He's got a super majority right now.
We're getting there. But politics aside, what did he just remove from the field to play this card?
So he played Forbidden Knowledge,
support, yeah.
Forbidden Lore.
Okay.
Is a 0 cost support that the next blue ability you play has its cost decreased by 1, and then you can spot a Sith, which Palpatine is, to draw a card. So now Palpatine is up to the 5 abilities, and he has actually more health, well, exactly as much health as he started the game with.
All right, so Bacta just came out, which we talked about previously. That is just a nutty card for 2 resources, but what does it do?
It heals 1 damage for each upgrade on the character, but I don't think we can forget to talk about the Pulse Cannon that just came out on Jango,
Yes.
which is representing almost a full Palpatine kill by itself, based on earlier games.
This is really exciting because Palpatine is getting bigger, but we just saw one of the most powerful tools of the game come out in this format, and we could see some really big heavy
So this is a bold move. He's power actioning the Pulse Cannon without any money, which means that all of those pay sides are unresolvable. So it looks like he got the 2 damage, disrupt, and now he's stuck on the 3. He can't resolve it.
But he is showing 2 on Jango's natural character die.
Right.
But here's the thing. Palpatine hasn't done any damage, so he may be big and he may be healing, but he hasn't done anything yet. However, he hasn't rolled out, so everything I just said could be completely pointless if he just rolls crazy.
All of his upgrades are basically defensive in nature, so I actually wouldn't expect to see a ton of damage coming out of Palpatine, though he is showing 3 sticks with the Sith Teachings and one of the Neiman trainings.
So do you go after Dengar, so you stop getting the plink damage into you? Wait, why did he take all that damage?
The Jango just resolved 5.
Oh, okay. He hit him with Dead or Alive?
Yeah,
Okay.
when Palpatine rolled out.
All right, and then does he still have the capacity to use his plot to deal more damage?
It's not exhausted, so he should. It looks like he will do that instead of re-rolling. He changed his mind. So Palpatine went to heal up, and then he went back to worse than he was before.
Yeah, but what's scary is without that back to tank, he'd be dead. Or, yeah, he'd be pretty close to being dead.
He'd be pretty close. He would have been at 2 health remaining, something like that, without the Bacta.
So who do you go for here? I'm assuming it's Jango, but Dengar,
I think it
late
has
game can just damage.
Yeah, so
damage.
With the shield, Dengar has 11 health, and with the Bounty Hunter mask, Jango has 12. So I think you just go for Jango because he has the Pulse Cannon, which is the most important upgrade in the game right now.
Yeah. That's going to swing the course of the game if he can get the money he needs and the values he needs to just stick it to Palpatine.
And it looks like Palpatine has chosen to just go defense up,
Yep.
play another Sith Teachings, grab some shields, grab some money.
Yeah. Now, is he going to resolve?
Power action out
Ooh.
a Sith Teachings.
So he has a discard and a 1 stick showing.
That's interesting because the Sith Teachings...
There it is. So 3 damage.
Okay.
Puts it into Jango. But now he has 6 upgrades, so he's the Senate. He's going to start throwing 8 dice per turn with a power action reroll. He's got 2 shields online. Watto is perfectly healthy, so he can pump out 2 to 4 resources, which just fuels Palpatine. It's not over. By any means, it's not over. But who do you think has the edge right here, right now? If you had to just, take a pick.
I think this is going to be the pivotal turn in the game. So that looks like a deflecting slash, which is going to remove the pulse cannon die, and then he gets 2 shields because he can spot the Ceresu Mastery. And he only could take 1 because he already had 2 shields, but I was just talking about how Palpatine doesn't have a lot of damage. I am a liar. Palpatine is showing 6.
That's right. You are a liar. But back to the game. That's a lot of damage. So 6 damage. That's probably going to go to Jango's head, literally. And you're looking at 9 on Jango with 12 health. What can Palpatine do to close the gap?
It's actually more than 9 because the Sith Teachings is showing a special for 2 more damage. And because he removed a die with the deflecting slash, and the MENION training can also turn one of his other upgrades to even more damage.
All right, so what's this he's playing here?
That's Hunt Them Down to do damage, increasing its value by the number of bounties on the character. So that 2 became a 4 with Hunt Them Down.
All right, so Palpatine is at 9 damage.
Out of 16, so he has 7 left.
How gross.
But he's just going to re-shield here, most likely.
Now, everything he has on him is an ability, correct?
This time, yes.
Okay.
And he's playing a Fatal Blow.
Uh-oh.
To increase the value of that dice by 1 for each upgrade on the character, which is...
It would be 8. Because 7 stuck.
It was 8.
It was 2
so it was
plus
2
6.
plus 6 minus the shield.
So here's my question. Why did he not kill Jango?
Probably because Dengar hasn't rolled out yet, and he can prevent all of that damage coming through if he can get the kill before Dengar resolves dice.
Okay. So tell us, fair listeners and watchers,
so he's
what is he
special
doing right
chaining. He special chained the MENION training to turn the Sith Teachings to the special, and then resolve the 2 Sith Teaching specials for 4, and killed Dengar.
Okay, very good. So he mitigated a damage coming out of Dengar. He still has a healthy Watto. Jango has 1 die on the table. He's tapped out. There is still the plot, which could potentially deal some unblockable damage, but what is this new upgrade that was placed on Jango here on the far right, if you're looking at...
That looks like an armor plating, so that will just block 2 damage at some point.
So we went from, I have a full field, I've got dice, to I lost a dude, and I'm tapped out. Where do we go from here? Because Palpatine is not doing super well. He's not dead. But we could see a Bacta, or we could see something crazy come out of the Pulse Cannon. Like, if Palpatine dies, Watto is probably going to scoop.
So we get the power action for another Sith Teachings for another 2 damage, which will block with the armor plating.
Right. And Palpatine still has 2 dice out on the table, cards in hand to reroll, a power action on Watto. Like, there's just a lot of options here for the Palpatine player. He's not rolling what he wants because he doesn't need shields. Rolls a blank.
So I think he can take the shields just to max out on it. I don't know. I guess he's looking for the focus on the Ceresu Mastery.
Oh, man. That's
But
rough.
he is busy bricking with his dice, and then now we're down to his last card, which...
What is he searching for?
I think he wants... I honestly... I think he was just looking for value out of those dice at that point. And he does end up maxing on the shields with the 3 shields from the Ceresu Mastery special. And he did get the $1 with Watto, so it might have all been worth it.
So what can Jango do to clinch this out? What does he have in his deck? What tools does he have available?
Well, he's already got it on the board.
Okay.
It's called the Pulse Cannon.
Okay.
I think he is all in on the Pulse Cannon to carry this game. It's going to be difficult, though, because Palpatine has a lot of tools for dealing with that dice, with the Ceresu Mastery, the shielding, and potentially any mitigation that he draws.
Are there any action sheet cards that can help? Well, never mind. I was going to say, do we have any tricks that Jango could just get some dice, roll, resolve, and then next round, next action, power action, but we're just going to see 2 ranged, 1 stick, which can clear off the shields from Palpatine, potentially.
That's not what he was looking for. He probably has to just he has to either remove the Ceresu Mastery or get the Pulse Cannon resolved immediately, which he does.
All right, here we go. We see, what is that?
That's a 3.
Three
There's
for
1 and then 3
So 2 more.
and
a
then
one.
a 1, and that's it. It's three resolutions.
Oh, okay, you're right.
But
So Palpatine's still a 6 and potentially a Bacta in hand. We don't know, but if he has a Bacta...
he's got 5, it looks like. He's at 11 with 6 upgrades.
Yeah, that could be a huge swing if he just drops that.
A Bacta ends the game, I think.
Yeah. So what is the special for Mastery? Because he's sitting there and clearly...
It's to remove a dice showing damage and gain a shield.
Yeah.
I think what he's concerned about... I think you just do it. So now the plot on Dengar, or the Jango, I should call him now since Dengar's no longer with us, would have done 2 unblockable, which would slide under the shield, but the Forsaken came out and removed the die since it was the only one left. And now we're seeing Palp's Sabers.
Oh, what's
for
the support
Palpatine.
here?
That lets him search his deck for a bounty.
Okay, so you can use the support to tutor out more bounties. Now, how is that going to help him win this game? What is he searching for?
I honestly don't know.
Okay, so there's every time Palpatine activates, you get 2 resources?
Well,
oh no, he tutored it out from
the difficulty
his deck. Okay.
is that the Palpatine player will choose which downgrade gets removed if another one is added.
Oh, so he would just remove the original, and then nothing happens.
Right.
So Watto rolls 2 plus 2?
Unless, I don't know, I don't think Bounty Board increases the bounty limit. I think that's a different one.
Right.
A different support.
What do you do here? You're tapped out. You've rolled out your super sauce, and it just didn't happen. We've got a bounty on Watto,
Yeah.
So Palpatine just has to sink in, what is it? He's 11, 12, 13 damage, so he just needs to sink 10. Can he do it in this round?
With 2 Palp Sabers, I think he can. Yeah, he's got a potential of something like 8, 9, 10, 12 or 14
All right,
total
we're seeing
potential.
an overwrite. What is he overwriting?
So that's a Neiman Mastery overwrite to turn Watto's dice to
a discard.
A discard.
All right.
Because I think he's trying to play around some potential removal that's remaining in the hand. That looks like a hunt them down, which is increasing the value of a dice by the number of bounties on the character.
Okay, so he still has to respect that last card could be removable.
Yes.
All right, here we go. The Senate is coming to town. What do we have here? Lots of numbers that we're about to figure out.
So
minion
there's a
math.
few 2s.
What do we got here?
Looks like 4 damage, but double focuses on a few things, and that looks like a scoop. Because the focuses get him
All
there.
right, the hand has been extended. Congratulations to Chase. Palpatine takes trilogies. How exciting this has been. We went from droids versus droids to droids versus meatbags to meatbags versus other meatbags, and then General Grievous was in there somewhere. And now we have Palpatine, the Senate taking the whole thing. So your thoughts on this really incredible trilogy that we just saw? Great plays, great decks, a lot of diversity at the end, which was really neat.
Yeah, and unexpected as well. I think it's always interesting to see Palpatine come out because I think Palpatine is the spirit of Destiny. You're just chucking a bunch of dice on the table and seeing what happens.
Okay.
And that's what happened at the end. He just overwhelmed his opponent with 10 dice.
In retrospect, should Dengar have come out swinging a little bit earlier? Because we saw Jango activate and then some shenanigans using cards and power actions, and Dengar didn't do anything. He didn't put any pressure on the board. He didn't even get his free trigger. Could that have been a mistake, or did it really matter because Palpatine was just going to blow him out anyways?
It's hard to say if it's a mistake or not. Sometimes you're just a slave to what your hands and your dice are doing. And Dengar couldn't get the damage out early enough, and Palpatine had the timely back to therapy early on.
Yeah, I was about to ask.
Refresh it.
Yeah, do you think that was the play that shifted the game for Palpatine?
I think he was in the lead before the back to therapy.
Okay.
But that sealed it because I don't think I think that at that point, particularly with the second back to therapy coming up, It might have been in hand that round. It probably would have come out the next round since you're now deep into your decks.
Yeah, but it was on that turn that you specifically believed would be the turning point.
Right.
And that was when we saw Palpatine not only back to, but he started to load up really quickly and just became this critical mass of dice that he could use to either use for defense, deal damage. Like, he just had all the tools he needed in the round that, you were right. Like, that was the swinging point where either Jango kills you or, you become the villain.
And he became the villain.
Oh, yeah.
The ultimate villain.
Oh, yeah.
Palpatine.
He's the villain we need, but not the one we want. Or is it the other way around?
It's the one we're going to get.
Oh, boy. Well, that is not something I want to deal with. So let's get on out of here. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a blast. This is the Chance Cube. That person pointing on the left doesn't even know, but they are branding us super well. So my name is Sugi. I'm with the Knights of Ren. This is Minion. He eats Ewoks for lunch. But it has been a blast. So if you've been enjoying the show, please check out the Chance Cube on all their social media, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, some other things. I'm pretty sure I'm missing some. But it's been a blast. We're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow with the Nova Standard. Now, really quickly, let's talk about what you expect to see at this event, because it's completely different trilogies, even though it's similar.
So, I think the early rounds of this were a good indicator. I think we're going to see a lot of droids. One thing that we didn't see in this, we will see in Standard, is the Jabba big supports deck.
Yep. Ewoks?
Maybe some Ewoks.
We'll see Ewoks.
They didn't show up at the European Continental Championship in any real way.
That is true. That's true.
But maybe people aren't teching for them anymore, and maybe this is their chance to come back. And then I have heard whispers of Palpatine running around, so...
I'm pretty sure they're not whispers anymore. I'm willing to wager they're shouts from the hilltops.
So maybe we'll see some Palpatine tomorrow. Who knows?
All right, super exciting. So definitely follow the Chance Cube. Make sure you've got them on follow, because as soon as they go live, there's going to be a lot of Standard Destiny here in Northern Virginia. It's going to be a blast. So I'm signing off for Sugi. This is Minion. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you once again to the Chance Cube for hosting this amazing event, this amazing stream, bring it to everyone who couldn't make it out. Thank you for supporting the community and enjoying this really fun event. So we'll see y'all tomorrow, and as always, may the Force be with you.
This coverage of Star Wars Destiny is supported in part by our patrons. The Chance Cube wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the support of our patrons. We appreciate each and every one of you who generously support us in our mission to explore Star Wars Destiny and educate players along the way. We couldn't do it without you. If you would like to join our friends in high places, then head over to patreon.com/thechancecube. $1 a month goes a long way to maintaining and growing content like this and much more. And special thanks to Jim GOSS, Derek BERTRAM, and Nathan Henderson for their generous support as top-tier patrons.